Hi, I'm Preston Williams, and welcome to another edition of Jazz Talk. Today on our show, we're joined by one of the most talented musicians in jazz music today. This lady has taken the jazz world by storm. Last year, she came out with her debut recording, The Path, and has jazz folks talking. She is joined by great musicians like Jeremy Pelt and Richie Goods, and it is an honor to have her on the show today. Please welcome vibraphonist and composer, Miss Ching Chien Lu. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Preston.
Oh, I'm so honored. As I said, I discovered you about a year or so ago, and I was, of course, I've been following Jeremy for a while because he's one of the best young musicians on the scene today. Trumpeters, and I'm like, who's this vibraphonist? I've never seen her before, and I was immediately hooked with the sound and just the presence. And I actually had a Facebook discussion a couple months ago, and everyone was like checking out some of the songs from your latest recording. They're like, man, who is this? This is really cool. So we had a discussion about it, but I wanted to know more about your humble beginnings, Chien Chien, and I understand that you're from Taiwan, and just to know a little bit more about your background and how you got started in music, because I understand that vibraphone or percussion rather wasn't your first instrument, but piano at age 6. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I started to play piano when I was 6 years old, and I started to play all the percussion instruments like the multi drums and timpani, snare drums when I was 10 years old.
Ah,
And the music system is a little bit different in Taiwan. We have the whole like the college curriculum, but start from elementary school. So the
mhm.
first thing we go to school, we do 1 hour ear training in the morning every single day. So everyone in that class has perfect pitch. That's how I grew up. It's really intense. But I was only playing classical, and I finished my grad school also in contemporary percussion when I was 25, and I decided to switch to jazz because I always felt like I want I wanted to do more with the music, like
Mm.
when I was playing classical, I can, play all the songs, very, very good, but I couldn't create. I couldn't feel myself. So I was like, nah, there's a limit, and I feel like I'm hitting the limit. So I was like, okay, let me search what I can do, and I found jazz.
That's beautiful. You think about classical musicians who are great musicians, but basically they tend to be able to play what's in front of them as opposed to a jazz musician improvising on the spot and just creating in the moment, which is beautiful. So I guess at that point, did you decide to make the move to come to the United States and study?
Yeah, yeah. So when I was in Taiwan, there was not many jazz, faculties or information, nothing. And so I was like, if I need to get this if I need to learn this music, I should come to the States because that's where jazz born. So I just decided to come. But I know nothing back then. I was like, okay, let me just figure this out. Like I
Right.
felt like I was doing, I don't know. I was just so afraid. But I really want to, see what I can do more with the music. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So were you in New York at the time? Because that's a hotbed for like some of the best jazz. I mean, you're exposed to so much. I mean, culture, music, food, but I'm sure you were just soaking it all up. It had to be an incredible experience.
It's a little bit too much. That's why I'm now in Taiwan. I want to take a break, but
Yeah,
it's so much. I feel like I can't go back. Like my mindset is totally different. I see the world, which is good, because when I was in Taiwan, there's no other race, only Taiwanese when I was growing
right,
up. Yeah,
right.
and we don't have to speak English, and I was playing only classical music. So the whole world just opened up. I went to Philadelphia first to study my
Mhm.
jazz master, for 2 years, and then I moved to New York right after that.
Wow. Now, how did you find and meet Jeremy Pelt? Because you guys have a really, I mean, just that band that you guys have together, and of course you have your own band, but that band that you're in, I mean, did Jeremy just see you play and discover you like, who is this? I want this girl to be in my band. How did you guys hook up? Because it's like a beautiful marriage.
That's basically what happened. So
Okay.
I went to VJ Ayer's jazz workshop in Banff, Canada,
Hmm. Hmm.
and Jeremy was one of the faculties, and we have the, those lunch performances, like 30 minutes performance, ensemble performance. And he saw my playing, and I was on the stage, and I was trading with a trumpet player. So
Mm,
we went back and forth, but I didn't really think I was that good. I don't know what he see. But after I played, I came down the stage, and then he just came to me, and then he said, great job. Are you moving to New York? And I was just about to move to New York. And I said, yes, I live in New York. And then he said, can I have your email address? I want to, play. I want you to do something. I want to collab something. So that just happened like that. And I was like, okay, maybe he's just gonna get my email, and he will, he will not contact me. I didn't think too much. But yeah, he called me for his recording.
incredible. Now,
Yeah.
during that time period, Chien Chien, were you sort of like maybe going to like jazz clubs, seeing like different bands, just exposing yourself to this, or maybe checking out other vibe players?
Yeah, all the time because I had no gigs when I just moved to New York. I had nothing, like, and I went to school in Philadelphia, so I know no one in New York. So the only thing I can do is, go to clubs and check out people. But, the tickets are so expensive. So, so I'm trying to, just hassle.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's incredible. Now, I wanted to ask you about Richie Goods, a very talented bass player who plays acoustic and electric. I guess he was instrumental in, I guess, what producing you on your debut recording and really pushing you to do this because he's like, you need to have your own recording. You definitely have the talent. Was so funny.
That's what exactly he said.
Okay.
Like you need to have something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we went on tour with Jeremy Pelt. I remember we were in Poland or UK, I forgot, but yeah, Richie was the bass player in Jeremy's band on that
Hmm.
tour. And then
Hmm.
we are getting along very well. And then he asked me, "Do you have anything released? Can I check out?" And I was like, "No, I had nothing." And I remember I had a EP with some musicians, but no, I just didn't. I thought I have problem, because I just didn't like that music, and I didn't really want to listen to that EP, and I didn't want anyone to see that EP. So I was like, yeah, I have this EP, but you know, I don't recommend you to check out the music. And then he was like, "Oh, so you don't have your own album?" I was like, "No, I don't." And he said, "Do you want me to produce that?" I remember he asked me that in the car. I still remember everything. And I was like, "Yeah, but I just don't know how to make a record." And he said, "I can produce you." I didn't even know, produce. What do
Right,
you mean,
right.
producer? I know nothing. And then he said, "Can you bring your original composition to me, and I will check out your stuff." And then he asked me what kind of direction you want to go, who do you like, trying to help me to figure out the direction.
Well, speaking of direction, when you came out with your debut recording, I guess what was it, the fall? I was literally blown away when I heard it. I'm like, this is amazing for someone to come out with a debut that good. And what the title of it is called The Path. What does the path mean? What are you trying to say?
Because I always feel like, because I only play jazz for 6 years. I started to play jazz 2015.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was so afraid to put out a record because I don't feel like I sound jazzy enough. This is a, hard thing to do. And so I kept telling Richie, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like good enough. And then he told me, then you can write something about your past, how
Mm,
you grew up. And that's how you're different than everybody, because you didn't grow up in the States, you didn't play jazz, but you still have something to say. So we were thinking about my past journey, my journey, those kind of, terms.
right.
And we decided the path because that sounds cooler. And basically I was writing and a, I was writing with a lot of my background elements, like the song The Path. I wrote a marimba quartet because
Mm,
I was in the percussion ensemble and we toured to Asia, like China, Japan, Thailand all the time, and I was just soaked in percussion ensemble. And then he said, then you should write something like percussion ensemble, like four marimbas. So that's why we call that The Path, because I think I'm not jazzy enough, but but it's just a lot of elements from my path. Yeah, from my
every
past.
every song, Chien Chien, is just incredible. You break out with "We Live in Brooklyn, Baby." I mean, it's just catchy. It's like dun dun, and it just goes right into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm listening to this. But every song was just really nice. Invitation, I like the remake of Invitation and Jeremy's solo. He has such a beautiful sound on the trumpet. The song "The Path." Just every single song is just really, really good. And I was just saying, for someone to come out with something like this for a debut recording, I said, this girl's going places, and your playing is great. You are good enough. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and like I said, I've been sharing the music with many of my friends who really are checking it out too. But in regard to COVID and everything that's happening right now, of course, you're coming back to the States soon, aren't you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
in June, in June.
Because they're starting to open things back up where I live in the Baltimore, Washington D.C. area. We have a well-known jazz club. You probably have heard of it, called Keystone Corner. And
Yes.
like I said, they're booking a lot of acts, so you have to get down here and perform. We definitely would love to have you, and of course, the Kennedy Center in Washington D.C. Now, I wanted to talk about some musicians. I'm going to name some musicians, and this is sort of like a word association game that I do. I did this with Jeremy too, but I want to name some people, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind, Chien Chien. There's no right or wrong answer, whatever comes to your mind. I'm going to name some people. First name, Lionel Hampton.
Ooh, the most soulful person. I mean, everybody start with him. In the school, we check out his composition and everything. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. But I mean, I wouldn't, listen to his music all the time right now, because there are so many stuff to check out. But yeah,
Okay. Next
great,
name,
great musician.
Milt Jackson.
Yeah, I think he's the reason I started to play jazz because I heard one of his concert on YouTube. He was playing in Tokyo in 1990, and there is a song called Lament. It's a ballad, and just the way he played, I transcribed the whole thing, but I doesn't sound like him at all. And I was like, why I can play every single note like him, but I don't sound like him, So that's how I start to figure out how to transcribe and how can you sound like the musician because the feel and the accent and the turns, those little turns. That's how, you know, that's how it make the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mel Jackson, yeah. Every time when I listen to his stuff, I'm just always amazed.
Yeah. Next name, Bobby Hutcherson.
Bobby Hutcherson has so many different styles. Every single record sounds different. And
Hmm.
his marimba playing. I mean, I grew up playing marimba. So I will say I know marimba. But after I check out his marimba playing, I'm like, nope, I don't know about marimba. Yeah, his solo is always a huge journey. He
Hmm.
takes us to everywhere and every record is a little different, a lot different. So Bobby Hutcherson, and I never met him, but I heard people say he has a big heart. He's a really nice guy,
Yeah,
which I think that's a really important thing to be a musician.
definitely. Next name, Gary Burton.
Gary Burton, everyone has to play his composition in Taiwan. I don't know why. We didn't play Mel Jackson, we didn't check out Bobby Hutcherson, but every classical musician start to know jazz vibraphone by playing his four mallets stuff. So his four mallets technique is just incredible. Because I think he start to play classical too. Yeah, so his technique is just crazy, but sometimes it's a little too hard for me to to play. But yeah, his time is always so stable. It's just right there. He doesn't go anywhere. And his duet with Chick Corea.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody knows that one. That's good stuff. Next name,
Yeah,
Stefan Harris.
Stefan Harris. I think a lot of people told me my band sound kind of like Stefan's band. I don't know
Mhm.
why, but they say the way I, play the music, the way I phrase sounds like Stefan. And I check out his band many times at jazz standards, and his energy is just amazing.
Yeah.
His energy, and he always have marimba in his music, so that's what I like.
Okay.
And his his ear is so good.
Hmm.
He has that whole harmony cloud thing. I don't know if you know about that app. He invented an app, and it's for students or for musicians to check to train their ears, and I think that's incredible. His ear is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next name, Warren Wolf.
Warren. Warren is my favorite contemporary vibraphonist. Yeah, I mean, I was just transcribing his Bud Powell by Chick Corea.
Yeah.
His duet was with Joe Luck. Yes, I love his playing. And I took one lesson with him, and he told me just play. He told me just play. Just hit the heart, hit the instrument hard. So Warren is definitely my favorite, one of my favorite right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Mr. Roy Ayers.
Woo! Roy Ayers, he in his early musical life, he was playing swing stuff. Do you know about that? Like
Hmm.
fast swing. And who
Hmm.
told me this? Jeremy told me this. Jeremy showed me his recording, and then told me to check out Roy Ayers was playing, all the bebop, the hard stuff, and with a very fast tempo.
Yeah.
And then later on, he found out he likes more like the soul R&B type of music, and he plays blues so well. So every time when I transcribe his stuff, I feel like, man, if I can get this, I can play blues with no problem. His solo is all like blues stuff in there.
Yeah.
So Roy Ayers, yeah, soulful, soulful.
It's great. Let me ask you this, Chin Chin, when you're just home relaxing, taking it easy, what are you listening to? What type of music do you put on if you're just at home relaxing? Is it jazz? Is it classical? Is it something else? I'm just curious. What is Chin Chin listening to when she's at home?
Okay, all different types of stuff. I sometimes listen to contemporary classical percussion stuff like Xanakis,
Hmm.
because I feel like that stuff is just put me in the zone. It's just so I don't know how to describe. I feel like I don't need to worry about harmony. I don't need to worry about anything. It's like a meditation. So Xenakis stuff definitely I still listen to. And Jameson Ross, he's always my favorite. The drummer, also he's a singer. His stuff is just easy listen to. And also some, Chinese pop song, because
Yes.
that has all my, childhood memories.
Mm.
Even though the production can be so bad, the harmony can be like so simple, so bad. But I mean, music has different, feelings to everybody. If you related to this music, that's your music. You
Right.
know, we don't judge anything. But I know the production is not good. But I just feel so comfy when I listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and also a lot of stuff like the I just watched Lee Morgan's
I called him
documentary.
Morgan. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Lee was an incredible musician. It's a shame. I had one of his band members on, saxophonist Billy Harper, and Billy was there when it happened. Several musicians I've talked to were there. Just such a tragedy, but Lee was an incredible musician. It's just great, you know.
I know. And there are so many musicians are great. I feel like every day I wake up, I have so many things to check out. So tired. So
Yeah.
tiring. Like everything I want to check it out, crazy. Yeah, a lot of good music out there.
There's so much. There's so much. You know, something that I definitely would love to see you do, just the way that you play. I would love to see you maybe compose some music for film score. Something for a film. I could see you playing something, maybe putting something together would sound really, really interesting. You and Jeremy should talk about that. You, Jeremy, and Richie, and put something together. I would love to
Yes.
to hear that. But I was going to ask you, what's next for Ching Ching Lu? What are you working on anything else right now? I mean, of course, you're back in Taiwan and with your family, but what's next for you? When you come back to the States, any new projects that we're going to be seeing from you, or what are you working on?
Actually, I am collaborating with Richie. We are about to put out 6 singles. And right before I leave, we made 6 tracks because now no one can get it. I mean, people can get into studios, but we prefer to remote recording. So
Mm-hmm.
we put 6 tracks together and for musicians to record. So we have some musicians in a different states, but they can also be on the track. Yeah, so we composed 3 songs and we did 3 cover songs. One of them is also Taiwanese traditional song. We always have to have one Taiwanese song because
Mm-hmm.
that's who I am. And I think these 2 days, Richie is having Little John. I don't know if you know this drummer, John Roberts. He is on 3 tracks. Yeah, and also Jonathan Barber, also on 3 different tracks. But we have like different musicians on different songs, and that's our project. And when I go back, I'm gonna record vibes over those tracks, and that's like a little project. Because next year I want to put out another record, and Richie also wants to put out another record. But in this COVID year, we also want to have some we also want to express something, so we wrote stuff together, and that's what we are going to release.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Hmm.
Listen, I want to thank you so much for being on Jazz Talk today. You're a class act. And in regard to your debut recording, which came out, I guess, in fall of last year, called The Path, I just want to say you are on the right path. And please continue to make the beautiful music that you make. And I'll be there supporting. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm about to close out the show. Well, you've heard it from the great Ching Ching Lu. And as the saying goes, if the music grooves and makes you move, it must be jazz. I'm Preston Williams with Jazz Talk signing off. Peace.